Hello children, welcome to another session of Geography Class 10. And before we move further with the chapter Climate of India, let us revise what we have done in our previous session. So in our previous session, we learned that the climate of India was tropical monsoon type of climate. And the factors which were affecting the climate, or that was making the climate of India the tropical monsoon type of climate, the factors were, please focus, it was the latitude, altitude, relief, distance from the sea, Himalayas, distribution of land and water, surface pressure and wind, upper air circulation, that was the jet streams, western cyclones or western disturbances. So these were the various factors which were affecting the climate of India. And children, these factors are important as reasoning based questions are asked from these. Like we had studied last time about the latitude. Now the latitude, I told you that the Tropic of Cancer is passing midway through India, that is the southern portion of India is falling into the tropical, that is in the torrid zone, whereas the upper part is in the temperate zone. So in all the the climate of India has the subtropical type of climate. The upper portion enjoys a subtropical type of climate, whereas the southern portion enjoys the tropical type of climate. Okay, now questions based on the latitude also may be asked, on the altitude also may be asked. We had studied that as we go higher it becomes cooler and cooler. So questions like this, like for example, there's a question, even in summer Shimla is cooler than Delhi. So such questions may be asked, and we know why Shimla is cooler than Delhi during the summers, because Shimla is situated at a higher altitude, whereas Delhi is situated at the plains. Then the relief feature is there, and based on the relief feature, questions may be asked that why the Malabar coast receives rainfall in July, whereas the Tamil Nadu coast is comparatively dry. So in such cases, we know Malabar coast is situated on the windward side of the mountain, whereas Tamil Nadu on the leeward side, and so likewise it is receiving more rainfall. Malabar coast is receiving more rainfall than Tamil Nadu. Same with the distance from the sea, questions based from that. For the Himalayan region, the questions may be asked. I told you last time that the Himalayas, they act as a climatic divide. They do not let the cold Siberian winds to enter the country, neither do they let the monsoon winds to leave the country. So in that case, if the question is asked on why does the northern plains do not freeze in winter? So the northern plains are not freezing because the Himalayas are stopping the cold Siberian winds to enter the country. If the Himalayas were not there, then these winds would have entered and the whole region would have been frozen. But because of the presence of the Himalayas, which is blocking the Siberian winds, it is not letting it enter and freeze the northern plains. So such reasoning based questions will be there. Okay, next we have the other questions like the distribution of land and water, surface pressure and winds, upper air circulation and western cyclones. So all these points are very important and logic based questions may be asked. Next we come to the seasons, and this also we did last time. We had said, I had discussed with you that the seasons in India are different from what we are experiencing in the temperate regions. Like they have the autumn season and the spring season, but seasons in India are different. We have the hot weather season, the cold weather season, the advancing monsoon and the retreating monsoon. Okay, so let us discuss each of them individually, and to discuss that we start with the hot weather season. So we are experiencing the hot weather season right now. Now the hot weather season is, now in India the hot weather season begins in March and lasts until June. This was told to you last time. Now this time the vertical rays of the sun directly falls on the Tropic of Cancer during this period. From March to May, due to the northward movement of the path of the sun's vertical rays, the length of the day increases. It results in increase in the solar radiation, which moves northwards towards the tropical areas of the South Asia, and the temperature starts rising. In most parts of India, temperature ranges between 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. The highest day temperature increases as the heat belt moves further north. In the northwest part of India, temperatures are around 48 degrees Celsius. So it becomes higher and higher. This is a chart for the last 3 years, and it records very high the temperatures and the number of people who die because of this extreme weather in the northern plains. Now you can see that the temperature keeps rising, and in the northeast part of India, northwestern part of India, it is as high as 48 degrees Celsius. In South India, the hot weather is not as intense as in North India. The moderating influence of the ocean, together with the peninsular situation of South India, keeps the temperature lower than the North India. So temperatures in South are lower in comparison to the North, and we can see why it is so, because of the moderating influence of the sea, because the tapering shape of the continent, it is near to the sea, and this makes the weather cool in the south than in the north. There is some respite from the heat in the coastal regions due to the influence of the sea. So the coastal regions are cooler. Plateaus and hills are also relatively cool because of the elevation. We have studied because of the altitude, the plateaus and hill remain cool. The diurnal variation is large, especially in the interior part on the western part of the subcontinent. Now, what do we mean by the diurnal variation? Means that the daily range of temperature, that is the temperature of the night and the day when the temperature is the highest, that is very large. That is, the difference is very large in the northwestern part of the continent. Now, the pressure conditions. Now, what happens when the temperatures are so high? What type of pressure is going to get created in the northwestern part of India? Naturally, a low pressure. We have studied in class 9 how they are inversely related, pressure and temperature. The higher the pressure, the temperatures will be low, and if the pressure is low, then the temperature will be high. So here the temperatures are high, so the pressure will be low here. So a low pressure area is created in the northern plains of India. And why this low pressure is created? Because the temperatures are very high. The air above the land also becomes high, and when they becomes high, they become light. They move upwards, creating a low pressure area over the land. So there is a pressure conditions are like that. Now, during this time of the year when the temperatures are high, a hot dry weather is marked by weak winds and dryness over the area. The low pressure over the northern plain draws winds from the surrounding areas, and give rise to thunderstorms and strong dusty winds. So these days, children, in the month of April and May, we experience these thunderstorms and dusty winds. This is because of the low pressure area which is getting created here. These winds cause shower of rain mostly in Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Now there are some local winds which are prevalent during these months, April and May. Let us study about these local winds. Now in the northern plains, we have the hot dusty wind Lu blowing. Now this is a strong dusty wind which is called the Lu, which blows during the day over northern and the northwestern India. These winds have temperature range between 45 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius, and which is enough to cause a heat stroke. Okay, so the whole of the northern plains during the month of April and May, they are affected by this hot dusty wind called Lu. So thankfully this year the Lu is not very much prevalent, but in the previous years we have experienced that the Lu is blowing over the northern plains, which rises the temperature. Now next, apart from this Lu, there are other local winds also which is prevalent in India. Now in the northeastern part of India, there is this wind which is called Kal Baisakhi. This is also a thunderstorm, a pre-monsoon wind, a thunderstorm which brings respite from the scorching heat of the sun and also brings rainfall. So this Kal Baisakhi, actually it means calamity in the month of Baisakh. Kal means calamity, Baisakh is the month of April. So calamity in the month of April is called Kal Baisakhi. In West Bengal, they bring a lot of destruction along with rainfall. So thunderstorms, what are these? Thunderstorms which are accompanied by rainfall, which bring a lot of destruction. These are called Kal Baisakhi. Kal meaning destruction. Baisakh is the month of April. So destruction in the month of April is called Kal Baisakhi. Okay, now these Kal Baisakhis, these winds are also favorable for some crops which are grown there, that is rice and jute. So it is good for these crops. These winds, the Kal Baisakhi in Assam, they are known by a different name according to their local language. They are called Bardoli Chira. Now these are also known as tea showers. They are beneficial for the tea plantations. They are also thunderstorms accompanied by strong winds and heavy rainfall. Similar winds in South India. Now in South and Tamil Nadu, these winds are called mango showers. They are similar winds, pre-monsoon winds. They are called mango showers. And in Karnataka and Kerala, they are called cherry blossoms. The same winds are called cherry blossoms. They are called cherry blossoms because they are beneficial for the ripening of the coffee berries. Cherry blossoms. Okay, also known as the blossom shower. Now in Tamil Nadu, it is beneficial for the ripening of the mangoes. So children, I hope you will remember the local winds which are blowing during the month of April and May. Before the coming of the monsoons in India, in the northern plains, we have Lu. In Assam and in West Bengal, we have Kal Baisakhi. In Tamil Nadu and in Maharashtra, parts of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, we call it mango showers. Cherry blossom in Karnataka and Kerala. Okay. Next we have the coming of the monsoons. Now we had studied that the temperatures become very high in the northern plains. Over 45 degrees the temperature reaches, and when the temperatures are so high, a low pressure area is formed. Now this low pressure area intensifies, and just as your land and sea breeze, the winds from the sea, now the sea in comparison to the land is cooler and has a high pressure over the seas and the oceans. So winds move from these oceans towards the land because they get attracted towards the low pressure area. I told you children that winds always move from a region of high pressure to low pressure area. So winds are moving from a high pressure region. High pressure is over the ocean and they are moving. Now as they cross the equator, they get deflected towards the right. Children, I have told you earlier also, as the winds, when they cross the equator, they get deflected. This is Ferrell's law, that all winds, they get deflected towards the right in the northern hemisphere, and they are deflected left towards the southern hemisphere. So they get deflected towards the right, and you can see that from here they get bifurcated into two parts. One part of the monsoon winds is known as the Arabian Sea branch. The other part is known as the Bay of Bengal branch. So children, you'll remember that the two branches of the monsoon winds, one is the Arabian Sea branch, the other one the Bay of Bengal branch. Now, as they strike the coast, the first, which coast they strike? They strike the coast of Kerala by the 1st of June. Here you can see, by the 1st of June, they strike the coast of Kerala and they bring heavy rainfall along with violent thunder and lightning. So this is called the burst of the monsoons. When the onset of the monsoons, they strike the land, the Kerala, and they bring heavy rainfall which is accompanied by violent thunder and lightning. So this sudden violent onset of rainfall in the first week of June is termed as the burst of the monsoon. Children, this question is often asked, what is the burst of the monsoon? So you must mention that as the monsoon winds strikes the coast of Kerala, by the first week of June, they bring along with them heavy rainfall accompanied with violent thunder and lightning, and this is called the burst of the monsoons. So in this chart you can see children that by the 1st of June or maybe the first week of June they are reaching the coast of Kerala. By 5th of June they are able to reach Maharashtra. By 10th of June Goa, and likewise the northern plains they reached by 15th of June. These are just approximate dates. Okay, now back to this and how the mechanism of the monsoon. Let us study about the mechanism of the monsoons. As the monsoon strikes the coast of Kerala. Now this whole region, which is, we have studied about the relief, rainfall, the orographic rainfall occurs because along the coast of Konkan and the Malabar coast, we have a range of mountains. You can see in this diagram, there is a range of mountains, and this range of mountains is called the Western Ghats. So when these winds are striking the Western Ghats, they are not able to move further. As such, they shed their moisture or bring heavy rainfall in the Western Ghats, which is also called the windward side. So you must have often heard that Mumbai is in floods. almost every monsoon season because Mumbai lies in the windward side and receives heavy rainfall. Whereas places which are on the other side of the Western Ghats, they are actually receiving less rainfall. They are on the leeward side and also on the rain shadow area. Okay children, will you remember these? Okay, for this session, this much. Read your text, try to understand, jot down the points so that you do not forget. So, I would suggest you to all to stay home and stay healthy and meet you next time. Thank you.